Hi, we're here doing this prime time from the Taste O CHICOPEE. We're here at the White Glove Caterers booth. We're going to try some Cajun chicken, but we want to tell you that this show includes an appearance by megastar Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, but that's only in the PSAs, George.
Right, but technically he's still in the program.
You're so sleazy, George.
Well, enough of that. Let's just try the chicken. Looks good. Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and welcome to Prime Time. And let me tell you, this is going to be the best show ever because we're here at the Taste O CHICOPEE, and I'm here at the Michael's booth, and I think I'm going to be sampling some of this chocolate truffle cake. But let me tell you about the big show. We have the group Reflection. We'll have a tour of Poland with Frank Knight. But let's start off the big show with the CHET Dragon Band and the My Baby Polka.
Her eyes seem to light up and shine when I tell my baby they're just a baby, that my baby soon will be mine. Wow, 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 that's what they say when they see my baby sway. That is what they say. Wow, 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 she's sure okay, and she's my baby now.
Yes, that was the CHET Dragon Band, and here's another great band, the fabulous Checkmates here at the Taste O Chicopee. Hey, it seems like we're doing a telethon. Well, come on back, I'll be answering phones.
Clint Eastwood is a little upset.
Seems some misguided individuals out there are abusing our public lands, and I don't like it. And I don't think you do either. Vandalizing parks and robbing historic sites or overrunning wild areas, those are ours, and we have to save them. As I see it, these clowns can either clean up their act or get out of town.
Write Take Pride in America. Post Office Box 1339, Jessup, Maryland 20794.
My next guest is a local legend of broadcasting, and he now hosts a show here at WMAS, and he also is a tour guide taking people to places like Poland. Let's meet Frank Knight. Well, Frank, welcome to Primetime here.
Why, thank you very
We're
much.
interrupting your radio show, but we're playing a tape here instead.
Oh, well, this is something absolutely different, something special.
Lights in a radio station.
Well, I must confess, George Duranda, that I'm very glad to see you here and not 60 Minutes, because then I would have been very nervous indeed.
You still want that raise. Tell me about Poland. You know, people go to Hawaii and Aruba and Jamaica. What sets Poland apart from these places?
Well, the obvious answer is Germany and Russia. But the reason...
Funny, Frank.
Well, I'm trying my best. But the reason...
You'll have to try a little harder. This is prime time.
Oh, I'm sorry. But the reason many people travel to Poland, and one of the reasons that I do, is A, it is the most affordable country that you can visit in Europe. Just to give you an example, many of the gals in our tourist party, every single day, go down to the local beauty salon, which is located in the first-class hotels, where we stay in the various cities in Poland, in Warsaw, in Krakow, in Gdansk, in Sopot, Gdynia, or Poznan, or wherever, and get their hair trimmed, shampooed, and permanent set for 75 American cents.
75 cents.
So you can see
That's like a $30 trip around here.
Exactly, sometimes even more, $40, $50. So consequently, if you want to go to Poland and save money on your hair, that's the place to do it. Men, for instance, get a razor cut over there. What would you pay for a razor cut here in the United States? Any place. Some inexpensive place like Chicopee, for instance.
Oh, anywhere from $10 to $15, sometimes more.
Would you believe 15 cents?
15 cents.
Exactly. And just to give you another example, we went to this restaurant, which is located in the very historic part of Krakow, located on the Stary Rynek, the old square. And in this particular restaurant, at one time, it was host to Polish nobilities. I mean kings and queens and counts and dukes. And we had a private dining room. We had antique furniture at which we sat and enjoyed a sumptuous meal. Each and every one in our party had an individual waiter standing behind our chair, ready to pull it out as we were standing up and to push it back in as we were sitting down. We had drinks, we had hors d'oeuvres, we had filet mignon, which is what I ordered, and the others, of
That's
course,
my favorite.
ordered other exotic foods, you know. And then we had a three-piece Polish folklore group come in and serenade us with Polish folk songs as we were enjoying this sumptuous meal. And at the end of the evening, we figured it out. There were 12 of us in this private dining room, and it came out to $1.50 for each individual. And this was the last time we were in Poland.
And you can't get that at McDonald's.
Exactly. Absolutely fantastic. But outside of that, Poland is such a beautiful country, and it's such a historic country, too. There's so much to see there and so much to do.
What are some of the more popular sites that people like to see?
Well, first of all, of course, they want to see their roots. where their mothers, where their fathers, where their grandparents came from. So for them, that is the most interesting part of Poland. But then again, you have Warsaw. Warsaw was declared an open city during World War II. The German dive bombers came in and leveled the city. 95% of the city was destroyed. Take a look at it today. It has to be the most modern city in the world because it was rebuilt from ruin. There isn't a trace of ruin in the city of Warsaw. Then again, if you want to go back through your history books, it's like going back through time, you know, like the quantum jump or a space traveler. You go to the city of Krakow. Krakow was untouched during World War II, and it's exactly the way it was when Nicholas Copernicus was studying at the Jagiellonian University in Krakow. The streets are the same, the buildings are the same, and when you walk on the cobblestone streets of Krakow, you're walking on the same streets which was tread by all these Polish heroes like Copernicus and Frederick Chopin.
So Poland has old and new.
And they have such beautiful places too. One of the most beautiful is located in the Carpathian Mountains, right at the very end of Poland, where Czechoslovakia begins. There is a river called the Dunajec River, and there is a chain of mountains, the Carpathian chains, or the Tatra Mountains, as they say in Poland. And even in the summertime, we are there in mid-July, the mountains, which are very tall, small Alps is what they call it, are covered with snow. And then we can take cable cars and go up to the snow-capped mountain, get off the cable car, and trudge through approximately 6 to 8 inches of snow and look down on the border of Poland and on the border of Czechoslovakia at exactly the same time, because there you are on that mountaintop. Fascinating.
And I understand you took a river raft ride down that same river.
You know, one year I took Chet Dragon with me. And
Why?
we had an empty seat on the plane.
Oh, that explains it.
And Mary Lou told him, don't you go near any water because you know that you can't swim. He said, what am I going to go through any water? All we're going to do is go on a raft ride. She says, a raft ride? All she could think of was these raft rides down the Colorado River, you know, with the
rapids and
the white caps and the whirlpools and everything else. She said, don't you dare go on that. Well, it so happens this river, which is very scenic, which separates Czechoslovakia from Poland, it winds its way through these huge, tall, beautiful, scenic limestone cliffs. And what happens is, just as soon as you get to the water's edge, the boatmen put together these pontoons. So they get all these pontoons and they lash them together and they make the raft out of this. And then they have a gorali, a mountaineer, and he's dressed in that a bowler hat of his, you know, with the vest and the coat and everything else, and he poles his way down the river. So obviously it's not very deep. As a matter of fact, you could wade. I think it comes up to about your kneecaps if you wanted to go from one side of the river to the other side, from Poland to Czechoslovakia. And it is a beautiful raft ride. But anyway, this is what Mary Lou was fearful of. The Chet Dragon might fall off into the water and drown taking this
because
raft
Chet
ride.
can't swim.
We found that out, yes, at one particular time. But this wasn't in Poland. As a matter of fact, he wouldn't even go in the swimming pools, which we have in the hotels over there. But this raft ride is so beautiful, so scenic, so peaceful, because there's no traffic down there. It's like you would experience looking or thinking of a Christmas card scene in the Swiss Alps, you know, with the little A-frame homes which are dotted along the hills, and they have these very tall, beautiful firs and spruces and pines.
Like going back in time.
That's exactly right. And then they get the ducks, and they have an occasional stork which flies over the river, and the cry of the birds, you know. And you're just drifting down. And the most amazing part and the beautiful part, and this is one of the reasons why I like going to Poland, there were some school children on the rafts behind us. You know, one raft follows another, and so forth. The ride is approximately 2 hours and 45 minutes long, and the school children in back of us were singing Polish folk songs all the way, and you can hear their voices echoing from mountain to mountain.
We understand you were serenaded also.
Yeah, one of the tourists thought he was in the Swiss Alps, and he started yodeling.
And what else can people look forward to seeing when they travel to Poland? We understand it's all inexpensive, but I'm sure there's a lot more to see.
It is very inexpensive.
Some historic landmarks?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Poland is history, living history. It's as if time has been frozen or time has just stood still in Poland. Because there are many people in our party who remember their parents talking about the tree in the back of the wooden frame house in which they grew up, and about the brook and the little bridge over the brook. And they go back there and they see that brook, and they see that little bridge over that brook, and they see that tree that their parents were talking about, or their grandparents. So it's as if time has been frozen there. But there are so many other beautiful things to see. For instance, Gdansk, which is a very beautiful city located right on the Baltic Sea. And the Baltic Sea is such a lovely thing, were it only cleaned up. Because much to our surprise, we found that it was polluted. But the beach is a magnificent beach. There are no seashells on it, no clamshells on it. It's just like white powdered sand. And it's a very wide, expansive beach. So what the people do, they sunbathe on it.
But they can't go swimming.
No. There's a sign that says, "Nie wolno." You cannot. It is forbidden. And they got these beautiful, like here we have seagulls. You go down to the beach and you walk along the beach and the seagulls keep circling around looking for food. Well, here at Gdansk, they got these beautiful saltwater swans which come out of the Baltic Sea, about 25 or 50 of them, and they gather around you looking for something to eat. Like Walesa, as a matter of fact, calls Gdansk his home. Another beautiful spot where we stopped, in addition to Krakow being a beautiful city, right outside of Krakow, well, it's not a very beautiful spot, but it is something that a lot of people want to see because they hear about it. We see series about it on American television. Auschwitz, the infamous Nazi death camp. They say, this cannot be true. We must go down and see what they call this place Auschwitz.
Well, it's part of history.
Auschwitz is in a tiny Polish town located just outside of Krakow called Oświęcim. The Germans couldn't pronounce Oświęcim. The closest they could get is Auschwitz. And here, because it was located on the major rail lines which crossed Poland, they constructed this infamous death camp. And when you go in there, I tell you, George, the hair just stands up on the back of your neck because the feeling of death and disaster is in this camp. And tears just start coming out of your eyes because it's something that you cannot help. And this year, I understand, they're opening up the oldest salt mine in Europe. And you can actually go down in the salt mine located outside of Krakow in Wieliczka.
Really?
And you can go down and you can go through the caverns, which years ago contained salt, but which were excavated out by the miners by hand. We're talking 1490, even before Columbus discovered the New World. And out of these huge caverns in which you could put a church, they have sculpted out of that rock salt a beautiful cathedral, including chandeliers, which I swear were made out of glass, but no, they were particles of white rock salt strung together to resemble chandeliers. And what looked like a marble floor was just some artist who had carved a pattern in the rock salt on the floor so that it resembled marble. An altar and religious statues also around this huge cavern. It was just like walking into an underground cathedral.
Well, Frank, speaking of entertainment in Poland, I understand you have a little clip that you brought back for us.
Yeah, when we hear of any Polish group here in the Springfield, Chicopee, Holyoke, Hartford area that's in from Boston or some city which is outside of our area, we immediately flock down to see, and we're kind of disappointed because it's not exactly what we had envisioned. So consequently, when we got to Poland, we heard the first night that we arrived that there would be a folklore show at one of the local hotels to welcome us, our group only, to Poland. We were delighted to go down there and experience this show, which I swear you'd spend $25 to $45 to see right here in the United States, and it was all free. It was a very professional group of singers and dancers, young men and beautiful women, and gorgeous costumes. They had frequent costume changes and beautiful voices singing the songs that we grew up with or that we heard at Polish picnics or Polish weddings or anniversaries. And it was just gorgeous and a wonderful way to be greeted to Poland.
Well, let's take a look at that right now.
Jeśli siądę
Frank, that looked and sounded great. Something that you certainly can't find around here.
And it's very inspiring, too, because they sing the language so well. Obviously, it's important.
Well, they better sing the language well.
Well, you know,
a little better than Chet.
Well, much better, as a matter of fact. But you know, some of these polka bands, they sing the Polish language. You got to put your hands over your ears and say, wow. You know?
But this is real Polish.
Oh, absolutely beautiful, too.
Well, Frank, Mark tells me we're just about out of time here, but I want to thank you for having me over to WMAS.
A pleasure.
And
I hope you enjoy the music of your life.
I certainly do. And hopefully we can stop back on by again.
You're always welcome.
And we're going to close with another feature from your video.
Oh, what better way to enjoy Poland than to have a picnic? Of course, we have picnics
A
here
real Polish picnic.
in the United States, but it does not compare to being in Poland. This is located on the Polish-Russian border. Białe Wieże is the name of the area. And we're out in the woods. As a matter of fact, we took a horse and buggy ride, the whole party, to get out there. There was a flaming bonfire ready, and we had white stuff in glasses to drink. What do they call it? Vodka here in the United States?
And glasses.
Yeah. And then we had kielbasa, which we roasted over this bonfire. And Gene Wisniewski, he of the famous Harmony Bells Orchestra, then picked up the accordion and started to play, and we couldn't resist it. Being in Poland, having the vodka, roasting the kielbasa over an open fire, we just had to sing and dance and just enjoy our stay.
Well, I guess we're going to take a look at that. Hey, stay with us. We'll be back with more Prime Time right after this.
Make sure we're not wasting water.
Gotcha.
And rats, check that the house is properly insulated. And Bessie, make certain we're recycling all our bottles, cans, and paper.
Gee, Piggy, what can we do to help the environment?
Let's not waste electricity.
To find out what you can do to help, write to Make a Difference, National Wildlife Federation, Washington, D.C. 20036.
Lights out! Gimme!
Hi, and welcome back to Prime Time. We're here at the Big Tasto CHICOPEE. I'll tell you, this is the best show ever. I'm here, I'm ready to sample some Millie's pierogi. But you know, it's always a pleasure when my next guest stop by. It's that great group, Reflection, and they're gonna perform Don't Know Much. Do you want some of these, Mark?
No thanks, George.
Well then, here, hold the microphone. I'm gonna try these.
Look at this face. I know the years are showing. Look at this life. I still don't know where it's going. I don't know much, but I know I love you. That may be all I need to know.
Look at these eyes, they've never seen what matters. Look at these dreams,
soul, still searching for salvation. I don't know much, but I know I love you. Let me be all I need to know. I don't know much, but I know I love you. Let me be all there is to
Yes, that was Don't Know Much, performed beautifully by Reflection. Mark, isn't this the best prime time ever?
One of our best shows, George.
I know, all this food. We're here at Sawyer's All-Star Dairy Foods. I'm ready to sample some chocolate, some kind of negative chocolate ice cream. But hey, I'd like to thank all my guests, the band Reflection, the CHET Dragon Band, Frank Knight, and thank you for watching. Join us again next time on Primetime. In the meantime, we're going to finish eating our ice cream.